Change at Walt Disney World. I will be the first one to admit that I don't like change at Walt Disney World, and I know I'm not alone there. In recent years, we have seen more change at Walt Disney World than most of us can remember, and it is extremely difficult for me to say this, but it is a good thing. What I'm about to say may be a little bit different than the usual, but I'll explain it all as the video goes on. But I have slowly, very slowly, at the moment anyway, come to terms with the closure of several classic attractions that I love. It still hurts to think about the loss of some of our favorites, like the Great Movie Ride, Ellen's Energy Adventure, and even the upcoming closure of Illuminations, Reflections of Earth. It's probably the most difficult for me at the moment, but I have come to terms with it for a very specific reason. Several months ago, I mentioned that it would take me a long time to get over the end of Illuminations Reflections of Earth, and I want to explain in today's video why my thinking has changed. For years, there have been many of us in the Disney community who have watched other parks around Walt Disney World, Universal Studios, enhance their rides, bring new rides and new shows and new attractions to the parks. Now, I'm not saying that Walt Disney World doesn't have new rides and new shows and new lands and new attractions. Not at all, they definitely do. We can see examples all over the place, but you can't ignore the competition. Now, I'm not saying that we in the Disney family who have loved Disney for generations and will never stop loving Disney are really swayed by the competition there. That's not what I'm talking about at all. I'm talking about the casual Florida vacationer. That's why we have to pay attention to the competition. Even as someone who has never been to Universal before and doesn't really even think about going to Universal at all, I have heard about the new Hagrid motorcycle roller coaster ride. And if I have heard about it, then you can bet that those who have never been to Universal before, who are kind of casual Florida vacationers, and there is nothing wrong with that, by the way, may say to themselves, you know what, let's take 2 or 3 days out of our vacation and explore Universal and this new Hagrid ride and the new water parks and different things that Universal has added. If I was a part of the Disney leadership team and I was thinking about that thought process, I definitely do not want to hear that. I want to hear that guests want to come to Disney and Disney only and stay on property and do all the things on property. When I start to think about that thought process, it makes me start to consider what I'm going to do in the future to make guests want to stay at Disney more than go to Universal. I'm not saying that Disney doesn't have this kind of excitement as well for Pandora and Toy Story Land, and definitely for Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at Walt Disney World and Disneyland, but you can't ignore the new technologies and innovation. With that in mind, Disney leadership is faced with a very serious dilemma. Unlike other vacation destinations who have some very extreme fans but are mostly made up of new casual vacationers, Disney has a very tight-knit, very large core fan base. That's all of us in the Disney community. This creates a bit of a problem for Disney. If another vacation destination decides to demolish 90 to 95% of all of their attractions and just bring new and the latest greatest technology to all of their attractions, they're going to attract guests for a long time who will be there for years enjoying all of that they brought. If Disney decided to do something similar and demolish maybe 90-95% of all of their attractions, not going to happen by the way, so don't worry, the Disney community, all of us, let's just say it wouldn't go well. We would not be happy at all. But there is a flip side to this. If Disney were to keep every single ride and show around for 30, 40, or maybe even 50 years, they run into a separate problem because there will be guests who come to the parks and they experience it with their families, they have a great time, maybe they come back a second time, maybe even a third time, but they realize that nothing has changed over the past maybe 5 or 10 years, and they say to themselves, you know what, let's go try something new. Let's look next door. There's some new things happening there. You might be saying to yourself, Michael, who cares about all of that? If we're part of the Disney family and they have a great core fan base, then why do they have to change things? We enjoy the classics, leave the classics alone. Trust me, Disney understands it. They totally do. If they didn't, there would be no tributes to Walt, Mickey would never have his own ride, and they would not be spending tremendous amounts of money and manpower to create a show at Epcot to say farewell to Illuminations that will last for an entire year simply to remember the classics. Disney gets it, they totally do, but it's a balancing act. The balancing act consists of keeping the attractions that the core Disney family, their core fan base loves, and at the same time creating new attractions that will inspire new guests. Which attraction do we take down to bring more attractions? Which ones do we leave there? It's a balancing act. If Disney doesn't play this balancing act, they are going to lose their advantage. They have to continue to inspire and create new memories for families so families will continue to come back back again and again. It is a business. They have to do certain things to continue to grow, and in all fairness, hard business fact, they have to try to beat the competition. That's just how it is. They've got to do something to inspire guests to come back again and again. Just think about it, if Disney didn't change a thing since opening day, 1971, October 1st, imagine if they changed nothing for basically 50 years, imagine what the parks would look like today. Opening day, I'm sure, was an incredible experience, but rides broke down, water fountains didn't work, there was wet concrete. It is the magical place that we know today because of change. If Walt Disney World looked the exact same since 1971 or even 1980, go as far as 1980, they didn't change a thing since 1980, I almost guarantee you we would not know the Walt Disney World we know today, with 4 theme parks, 2 water parks, the downtown Disney Springs area, 30 plus resorts, and more being built every single day. Without change, we wouldn't have even half of that. Now you might be saying to yourself, Michael, Walt Disney purchased so much land. Instead of taking away those classics that we love, why doesn't Disney just expand on the land that they have? They are, when possible. Toy Story Land's a good example, along with Pandora, World of Avatar. Just imagine Festival of the Lion King, remember where it used to be? It's now been moved closer to Harambe, so they just moved that festival and didn't take much away at all. A few character meet and greets, but that was about it. At the same time, Disney also has to consider the comfort of all guests. As much as we in the Disney community, the core Disney fan base, would love a park where it takes 45 minutes to get from one side to the other, I think those who are maybe casual Disney goers and those who are just visiting Florida may not appreciate that as much. Of course, there are plenty of changes that Disney has made in the past that wasn't exactly what I wanted, but again, that's a very personal view. I don't think that the Figment should have been changed to what it is now. I don't think that taking away the Osborne lights without moving them somewhere else is what they should have done. I don't think they should have taken the Main Street Electrical Parade away without having another nighttime parade ready to go. But that's just personal opinion. They make the best decisions that they can in that moment, and then they follow up and try and fix things as they go. Don't forget, we're all human, including those who run the Disney parks and Walt Disney World. We're going to make decisions based on what we think is going to be best for our customers, the guests of Walt Disney World, and for the company. They do have to consider that too. After giving it years of thought, I have finally come to terms with it, at least at the moment. Change at Disney is a good thing. It's a good thing, despite the fact that several of the attractions that change are tied to childhood memories for me. Even though attractions and fireworks shows that hold a lot of very special family memories for me may go away, the knowledge that the location, the place where dreams come true, Walt Disney World, will be around for generations because of the change, in my opinion, is a good thing. Those are my thoughts about change at Disney, at least at the moment. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and please don't feel obligated to agree with me. Let me know your opinion in the comments, what you think they should change, shouldn't change. I'd love to hear from you. And as always, thank you so much for respecting all of the opinions in our Disney community. It makes it the best in the world. Thank you so much for being a part of the magic with me. Until next time, have a magical day.